welcome to this week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move. I am Dawn Fiske, your host, life coach, trainer, speaker, podcaster and YouTuber. I'm delighted that you're here with me this morning. If you're new to the podcast, then welcome. I'm dead excited that you've discovered this. This is me. I don't script write and I don't edit, so you get what you get. You get whatever I come up with. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to say until I say it. Many times I'm out on a dog walk and you hear all the bird song and the noise and the activity of the woodlands. Today I'm not, I'm at home. Today we are talking about mindset and how it can make or break how you're feeling. A good mindset will help you, a not good mindset will definitely not help you. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I'm talking about victim mentality or warrior or survivor mentality. I'm talking about give in to this and allow circumstances to take over, or for you to face whatever circumstances you're facing at the moment and take control, find solutions, do something about it. See opportunities in difficult scenarios. Move yourself forward when you feel stuck. Those are all the things I am talking about today on this week's podcast episode. If it's helpful, please share it on your social network or tell your friends about it, because it may be exactly what they need. If you're a regular listener and you're coming back, then I am so grateful. Thank you. I am aware that there's a lot out there that you could choose to listen to, but that you've chosen to come to this one. So thank you so much. I'm not going to waste your time anymore. I'm going to just crack on to this week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move, and let's tackle our mindsets. Today I just want to check in on your mindset and to see how your mindset is managing, what sort of mindset you're in. At the time of recording this, we are 6 weeks into our lockdown in the UK, the COVID-19. That does not mean that this is not relevant, even if it's beyond us and you're listening to this at some point in the future. But currently, we are in the midst of it, and I wanted to talk about how important mindset is. Especially, for example, I was coaching a client this week, and this cropped up. This was really relevant, and I thought I would just draw on it as an example. This particular client, I would say, is in a particular mindset that perhaps isn't helping them very much. Very negative mindset, very stuck. So what I would call, in a way, without judging, I would call it victim mentality. So very angry, very blaming, very against the government at the moment. It's the government's fault, it's the country's fault, this country in particular, very angry with this country, not discussing at all how any other country is coping with this, but just furious with this country, this government. Everything's external to that client, everything's in their mindset out of their control. I'm not allowed to do anything, I can't do anything, I can't live like this, I'm not sure how much I can take of this. If the government doesn't sort this out soon, I'm going to break the rules and go out anyway. All of that sort of phrase. And because I listen to language, anybody that has had one-to-one coaching with me knows that I listen to language, not in a judgmental way, but because it reveals exactly how that person is thinking. If they're saying certain words out loud, it demonstrates what sort of thought patterns they're running. And so the wording was very significant. And so once I let them get all of this off their chest, started to sort of strip away the layers and ask questions. And I said, okay, so you're feeling out of control. Yes, they were. They were very angry that decisions were being made for them, and so on and so on. And so I focused on what is in your control at this time. What do you feel is in your control? And initially, knee-jerk reaction was nothing. Nothing's in my control. I can't do anything about this, can I? But with further questioning and further work, was quickly able to see that actually, in fact, the one thing that we're all in control of, the one thing that we're always in control of, no matter what the circumstances, whether we're in this COVID-19 or not, and despite whatever we're facing, the one thing that we are in control of and fully in control of is our mindset and the thoughts that we're running and the way we choose to view things. I think, was it Shakespeare? I can't remember. Shakespeare, I think, said there is neither good nor bad in circumstances, but merely the way we look at it. So we're all facing the same circumstance, and we're all facing the same battle, we're all facing the same threat, but it depends on how we're viewing it. Largely will depend on how we feel about it. And so when I spoke with this client about their mindset, how their mindset was helping them, because there's never I don't say this in a judgmental way of a good reaction or a bad reaction, but I will say to clients, what is this reaction and this mindset and these thought patterns doing for you? Are they helping you or are they hindering you? Are they moving you forward or are they holding you back? Are they empowering you or are they disempowering you? Are they cheering you up and helping you along the way, or are they dragging you down and bringing your mood down and your achievements and your actions and everything else? Because I know which I would choose. If I felt it was a case of, if I see this differently, it will therefore feel different and it will therefore become a different reality, and my actions will become different and my results will therefore be different, then I know which I would choose. And so if this resonates with you, then maybe dig deep and see what sorts of thoughts you're running, see what language you're using about it. If there's victim mentality in any circumstance, it's the school's fault, it's the teacher's fault, it's the government's fault, it's my boss's fault, it's my partner's fault. If you're doing any of that, you're not taking any responsibility for your role in it at all, or more importantly, your role in the solution at all. You're focusing on external stuff that's out of your control and other people, all of which other people are out of our control anyway. The minute we turn it into our mindset into survivor mindset or solution mindset or thriver or warrior, whatever you want to call it, if you want to be a warrior and move yourself forward, then that mindset needs to be the right mindset in order to underpin what you would like as a result. So the warrior or survivor language might be, what can I do about this? What is in my control now? What could be a potential solution to this? What could make me feel better? What could I do to help myself throughout this? Although I'm not enjoying this, or maybe something like, although this is not great situation or great circumstances at the moment, what can I do about it to make it feel better, to make it look better, to help me along the way? That will change how you feel, that will change what sorts of solutions you notice. We can't feel positive if we're thinking incredibly negatively. We can't solve a problem if we're too busy blaming others for it and seeing ourselves as out of control. We're not going to move forward. We are going to stay stuck. When I went further with the client about what is in your control, your mindset, if you change your mindset, but what about what you do? What does your day look like? What could you change within your day? And I then established that for the first 2 hours of every day, they stay in bed, awake, present and awake. And I said, okay, and what are you doing with that time? Are you watching the news? Are you listening to the doom and gloom? Are you reading the newspaper? What are you doing? And they said, no, I'm just led there thinking all of this stuff. And I said, all of this negative stuff? Yes. So for 2 hours every day to start the day, that person is dwelling on the negative, the horrible situation. I can't cope with this anymore. The government, the country. What is that doing for that person's day? And then the second day, then third day, that turns into a week, that turns into the month, that turns into these 6 weeks. No wonder they're feeling the way they're feeling. So when I reflected on the fact that, well, those 2 hours have got to stop, and you're in control of that, that client hadn't realized, of course I am in control. I can make myself just get up, wake up, get on. Do things. What gives you pleasure? What do you enjoy doing that you still can do? What can you achieve around the house to give you a sense of achievement, to give you a sense of control? And because of the way they were feeling, they weren't doing things around the house, and that was feeling out of their control, and they felt chaotic and in a mess. And so on and so on. So by changing the mindset, they could see that they could stop those 2 hours, they could get up, they could get on, they could tackle small bits in the house, feel a sense of pride, feel a sense of achievement, feel a sense of control, and start on an upward spiral. Instead of, the old definition of keep doing the same over and over and over again, you're going to get the same result. If that person just every day wakes up, does the same, starts the day, does the same mindset, same thought patterns, the day is going to be just the same as yesterday and the previous day and tomorrow. We have to change that cycle. And right now, for that person, it's a very negative cycle. It has to be broken. It's doing nothing for them. So if this resonates with you, then where can you break the cycle? With what? How? Where? Because you can. You absolutely can. First and foremost, I would suggest with the thoughts, changing those, reframing those. Also, there's perhaps a tendency amongst some to see this as a negative scenario, doom and gloom. People are broke. People are not working, people are being furloughed, there's no jobs out there, there's no opportunities out there, it's all bleak, it's all doom, it's black, negative. No, that doesn't have to be the case at all. There are always, no matter what the circumstances, no matter how hideous the circumstance or time, if you look back in history, there are always opportunities in amongst the bleak times. Some of the biggest, most successful corporations set up in the Deep Depression. Walt Disney set up in the Deep Depression. So did FedEx, for example. I know that my husband he broke away from the corporate world back in the 90s when we were in a recession here in the UK. Everybody thought he was foolish, taking a big risk. Why not stay where you are, where it's safe? You can stay there with a set salary, get your pension at the end, and so on and so on. But no, took the risk to leave when other companies were closing down, making redundancies. There was high unemployment, high companies going into insolvency or whatever the word is, people losing their houses, and government or mortgage companies taking repossessions and so on. That was rife when he left. But we did it, took the risk, and I remember we were working in the back bedroom, the spare back bedroom, and took the opportunity. In fact, we went to auction houses, and bid for second-hand unwanted office furniture that was being auctioned off because the company's closing. I remember us getting cheap desks for both of us. We bid for a cheap unwanted filing cabinet, I remember, for the room. An old word processor, if you know what that means. I'm revealing my age, for me to use for him. And so we furnished the first little office, took the risks, gave it everything he had, and I was sort of backing him up. I remember going out in the evenings, posting flyers in company doors, advertising our services, etc., etc. Now that was a big gamble, but it paid. Here we are, almost 30 years later, and he has a thriving business, much larger, thriving business. Yes, it's going through a tough time now through COVID, but I do not doubt for a second he will be fine, because largely he's got the right mindset. That company has done very, very well and looked after us and the children for all of those 30 years. But could have taken the mindset that we were in a recession and my God, isn't it awful, and aren't things terrible, and houses are being repossessed and so on. Didn't do that. So right now, there is a large mindset about that, about, we're going to head into a deep recession now, worldwide, global markets are dropping, etc. But we can turn that round. Everybody's talking about the stock market crashing, oh my word, I've lost thousands on the stock market. You hear this being said. But equally, if you flip that round, of course, if the stock market's crashed, then perhaps if you flip it round, it's an opportunity to invest when it's very, very low. Because in theory, it's only going to go up. And so whenever things feel bleak, negative, and desperate, there are opportunities in there somewhere. Yes, people are being furloughed and laid off and companies are closing, etc. But there are other areas that are crying out for help. For example, fruit pickers are being desperately sought at the moment. Delivery people, shop workers, and so on and so on. So there are opportunities. We just have to change our mindset and look for those. Just today, in fact, actually, my 17-year-old has started his career. He got himself a job, predominantly because of him being willing to work in the last few summers and help out with building projects, and has been doing something for us here at home, his own little project. On the back of that, he has landed his first ever labouring job for construction, because construction is working. He's got himself a little job and set off this morning for the first time, embarking on his new career. Although, having said that, he may well have lost his job already, because I suspect he was late trying to get a 17-year-old up at 6:30 in the morning when they've all turned virtually nocturnal, playing on their PlayStations till goodness knows what hour with their mates. 6:30 start for him this morning was difficult. So he left later than I think he should have, and I suspect turned up about 5 or 10 minutes late on his first day. So he may well have lost his job already, but I joke. So there is opportunity. There's work in construction, for example, at the moment. We just have to change our mindset and look for it, be prepared to do jobs that maybe we wouldn't. But he is embarking on labouring at the moment, because who knows where it may lead. He may discover that he hates it, and therefore he decides in time to take up his university place and go to university, or he may decide he loves it, learns loads, and then breaks away for himself, or becomes a bit of a property developer and things like that. Who knows? But what I do know is, when you look back on your life, those jobs we started with when we were 15, 16, 17 led on to another thing, led on to another thing. If nothing else, it helped us decide what we didn't want for our career. If we ended up with dead-end, awful, boring jobs, I don't know, I used to clean a hotel bar when I was 15. My other half used to wash up in a kitchen of a hotel in his local village. You learn quickly you don't want to go into that trade, perhaps, or that you do. It's all about doing things, testing things, dipping your toe, testing things, finding out what you do want, finding out what you don't want, finding out what you do like and you're good at, or that you don't like or you're not so good at. We've just got to get ourselves out there and try these things. All of that comes back to my first comment in this podcast, which is it's about our mindset. All of it is about our mindset. So if this resonates with you at all in any way, and you think, actually, I've been doing a bit of that, I've been blaming, I've been angry, I've been negative, I've been focusing on the negative and what we can't do, what we can't have, the things we've lost, the things I miss, then that's not going to be helping you. And flip it, focus on what you can have, what you can do. Look for opportunities. Or if it doesn't resonate with you because you are in the right mindset, then I think hats off to you. Pat on the back, and spread that around you to your friends and family, and be an inspiration. Every time I see Captain Tom Moore on the news, he's a guy, for those of you who are not in the UK, he was 99, but in these last few weeks he has turned 100 years of age, and he decided that he would walk, to celebrate this, he would walk very slowly with his little walking frame, a little bit per day. He would cover 100 laps of his garden to raise some money for the NHS here in the UK. He started it and it just went viral, and he has now raised over £32 million. A 100-year-old man who could, and you would forgive him for thinking he's too old, he's too frail, can't make a difference, it's too late for me now, what can I do for the world? I don't really, you can forgive anybody thinking that, but he's not too old, it's not too late, he can make a difference, and he has made a difference. Then you wouldn't judge him any differently if he did just sit there and enjoy being cared for and looked after, but he's not. He's up there with his walking frame, an absolute inspiration. I cry every time I see him because of he's just so inspiring, and a great example of each and every one of us can potentially make a huge difference or a small difference in the world to someone or to many people's lives. It doesn't matter the number, it just matters that we're making some difference to someone. And accepting that it's never, ever too late. I remember the chap, I can't remember his name, I think he was from the States. He had the horrible, horrible terminal illness that we call in the UK motor neurone disease. They'd call it something different in the States, I believe, but I think it's the same thing. And it really, really resonated with me at the time, because my lovely grandma died of motor neurone disease, and she had a horrible last 6 months, absolutely hideous time. Now, he had been diagnosed with this, he was wheelchair bound, he knew it was terminal, he knew what he was facing and was suffering, yet he didn't give in to that and give up thinking it was too late for him to make any kind of impact on the world. No, instead he invented the ice bucket challenge. I wonder if you can all remember the ice bucket challenge, for the cause, for his illness, for research, and he himself raised millions of pounds too for his for the disease that he was sadly suffering from and died from. And he made a huge difference, and he knew it wasn't going to be a difference to him. He knew that was going to be too late. So too, to a large extent, there's Captain Tom Moore. He's 100 now, but he has made a massive difference to other people. And what is the phrase, the old Stoic phrase, that plant trees now that you'll never sit under? Make a difference. Not for you. You may well not make a difference for you to benefit, but for others to benefit. Sow seeds now that will grow later. Make a difference to one person's life or to 1,000 people's lives. It's making a difference. It's that mindset. It's prepared to have a go, prepared to try, prepared to do something. Just being prepared to push yourself forward and to show up. Instead of sit back and stay stuck in that mud of victim, anger, feeling sorry, licking your wounds. That doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't do anything for anyone else either. So that was a bit of a pep talk, wasn't it? If this has been useful and helpful, then please do share it, because it may well be that this will resonate with somebody that you know on your social media or your friends or your network, and it may be just what they need to hear now, today, and they put an end to it and they start tomorrow differently and they come up an upward spiral now. It could be exactly what they need, and you may in your own action not know what difference you've made to that person, but you may well have done. So maybe take a screenshot or mention it on your social media or post it and share it, whichever, but it could potentially help someone, which would be great. You know where I am if I can be of any help on a one-to-one basis or online programs that are on the website. My website is www.milestone-coaching.co.uk for those online packages on either a very in-depth one on stress management, which might be particularly relevant at the moment, and also a shorter one on time management, both of which can be downloaded and you then own, and you can do at your own pace in the particularly now if you're in COVID-19, privacy of your own home or at work, wherever. And you can do it at your own pace, at your own time, and keep revisiting it at different times in the future should you need a little recap. Or it can be purchased by you if you're a team leader or a manager or an HR department for a team member if you're worried about them. If, however, you're an individual and you'd like a little micro one-to-one coaching, I am offering micro sessions for those who want to just focus on one area, quick micro coaching session via Zoom, WhatsApp, FaceTime, or any of the others. Then that is available in the website. You can contact me and drop me an email, and that's fine. Or you can go for the normal coaching one-to-one via Zoom and WhatsApp at the moment, unless we're out of lockdown. But either way, contact me through the website www.milestone-coaching.co.uk and press contact me, or email me directly, dawn@milestone-coaching.co.uk. Other than that, I wish you all a very, very happy week, a ballsy week where you're prepared to get out of your comfort zone, prepared to have a go, prepared to take some risk, look for opportunities, change your mindset, and have a successful, calm, contented week. Take care, everybody, and I look forward to talking to you next week on next week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move.